I wasn't supposed to be home until Sunday night. That was the plan, at least the plan everyone in the neighborhood thought I had. My sudden return a day early turned what was supposed to be a quiet Saturday evening into a showdown that still has my neighbors whispering months later. When I pulled up to my house, I expected to see my familiar driveway, my porch light glowing the way I'd left it, and maybe even the comfort of my dog barking from the backyard. Instead, what I saw stopped me cold. My belongings stacked on the curb, strangers carrying furniture out of my house, and the one person I dreaded dealing with, standing smugly in the middle of it all, Karen, the HOA president. What happened next was so absurd, so audacious, that if I didn't have half the neighborhood watching as witnesses, I'm not sure anyone would believe me. A strange sight on the driveway. It had been a rough week. Business trips always wore me down, but this one had been especially draining. Meetings across 2 states, delayed flights, and hotel rooms that smelled like old carpet was the kind of trip that makes you ache for home. Cut it short because I missed my bed, my home-cooked meals, and some peace. As I turned onto my street, I noticed something odd right away. My driveway wasn't empty like I'd left it. The moving truck sat there, engine off, with 2 men carrying boxes. For a split second, I thought maybe one of my neighbors was having work done, and they were using my drive. But then I noticed the boxes. They weren't random, they were my boxes. I slammed the brakes and jumped out. "Excuse me? What the hell is going on here?" I barked. The movers froze. One of them stammered, "We're just doing our job." She said this house was ready for new tenants. "Shh," I snapped, looking around. And then, like some villain stepping out on cue, Karen appeared. Enter Karen in her usual pastel sweater and oversized sunglasses, even though the sun was setting, strutted across my lawn like she owned it, arms crossed, smirk on her lips. She looked at me as if I were trespassing. "Oh, you're back early," she said, her voice dripping with annoyance. "That's inconvenient." "Inconvenient?" I repeated, nearly choking on my own words. "Karen, why are movers taking my things out of my house?" Her smirk widened. "This property has been repossessed by the HOA. You abandoned it, so we voted to evict you. We've already arranged new tenants." I laughed loudly. Abandoned. I've been gone 2 days. 2 days. "And you don't have the authority to vote me out of my own house?" Karen rolled her eyes, as if I was the unreasonable one. "The rules clearly state that neglected properties are subject to reassignment. It's about community standards. Frankly, you were never a good fit here anyway." Callie tried to reason with her, but she waved her hand dismissively and pulled out her phone. "Enough. You're trespassing on HOA property. But you don't leave right now. I'll call the cops." And before I could say another word, she dialed 911 right there in front of me. In front of the movers, and in front of the neighbors who were now gathering to watch. "Yes, officer," she said. Sweetly into the phone, "There's a dangerous man refusing to leave my property. He's harassing me and threatening violence." I felt my blood boil. She wasn't just lying. She was painting me as a criminal. The police arrived within minutes, red and blue lights flashed across the cul-de-sac. 2 patrol cars pulled up, and the officers stepped out. Karen rushed toward them, crocodile tears streaming as she pointed at me. "There he is." He forced his way into my house. "Please, you have to get him out," she wailed. The officers looked at me, calm but wary. "Sir, can we see some ID?" "Of course," I said, pulling out my wallet. I handed them my driver's license, then reached into my bag for the folder I always travel with: mortgage documents, utility bills, everything tied to my name and this address. I had come prepared without even realizing it. The officers examined the paperwork, compared the address, and then exchanged looks. One of them turned back to Karen. "Ma'am," he said carefully, "this man is the legal owner of this property. His name matches every document. Can you explain why you told us otherwise?" Karen's frisette was like watching a balloon deflate. Karen's smug expression melted into shock, then panic. She opened her mouth, but no sound came out. She looked around, desperate for someone to back her up, but all she found were neighbors staring in disbelief. I was just... "We, the HOA," she stammered. The officer's tone sharpened. The HOA does not have the authority to evict homeowners. Filing false police reports is a crime, ma'am. This is a serious matter. Karen froze. Her face turned pale, her body stiff, as though she'd been caught red-handed, which of course she had. The aftermath of movers. Embarrassed, quickly began loading my things back into the house. Sorry, man, one whispered. She showed us papers, said she was the owner. I shook my head. Don't worry. You were just doing your job, but next time, check the names. The officers made Karen stand to the side while they took a report. The neighbors whispered among themselves, some recording, others shaking their heads in disgust. For years, Karen had lorded her HOA power over the community, fining people for leaving trash bins out too long or planting the wrong kind of flowers. But this was a new level of insanity. When the officers finally left, they left her with one last warning. If you try this again, you'll be facing charges. Karen stormed off, humiliated, her reputation shredded in front of everyone. The neighborhood reacts the next morning. I couldn't walk outside without a neighbor stopping me. Mrs. Henderson from across the street shook her head. We always knew she was power-hungry, but to actually try and steal your home, that's criminal. Mr. Patel, who'd had his own run-ins with Karen over his mailbox color, chuckled. Serves her right. Maybe now she'll finally back off. But Karen didn't disappear entirely. She avoided me, yes, but every time I passed her, I could feel her glare burning through me. She had lost publicly and humiliatingly, and there was no coming back from that. Reflection that night. As I sat in my living room, not Karen's imaginary HOA property, I thought about how close I had come to losing it all. If I hadn't come back early, who knows how far she would have gone. Would she have actually moved in tenants? Changed locks? Sold my furniture? The thought chilled me, but what stuck with me even more was the look on her face when the officer said the words, "This man is the legal owner." She had gone from queen of the neighborhood to exposed fraud in seconds. And the best part? Half the neighborhood saw it happen. Justice served Karen's downfall didn't happen overnight, but it started that evening. Her influence in the HOA dwindled. People stopped taking her seriously. At the next board election, she wasn't just voted out, she was humiliated with the lowest vote count in HOA history. As for me, I kept every document, every police report, and every witness statement tucked away in a safe. Because if Karen ever tries again, I'll be ready. And now, whenever I return home, whether from work, vacation, or just a late night out, I smile. Knowing one thing, Karen may still live in the neighborhood, but she'll never forget the day she tried to evict me from my own house, and froze when she realized exactly who I was. Because sometimes karma doesn't knock, it kicks the door. Wide open, this story is just the beginning. There is so much more ahead. Subscribe to the channel to join me on this journey.